Hello folks, thank you for joining us. It's getting towards the end of the afternoon and the rain is falling outside, but I'm just over there on the wheel, so why don't you join me? Let's go over there. I'm going to be making some narrow-necked bottles, so let's just go over there and we'll probably pick up some of the rain falling. These are the bottles that I'm trying to make. A low belly with a long extended neck. I'm finding that as I'm practicing, I'm actually getting better at doing them. It's quite an exacting shape. Anyway, join me as I struggle. Let's just get the camera set up here on the tripod. You may have noticed that I've moved my wheel here to the doorway because I wanted to get a bit more natural light, and look out. You know, it helps, doesn't it, if you've got something pleasant to look out on while you're throwing. So see how we go. Yeah, these are actually 1.5 pounds of clay. Are we in the picture? So I've got one last lump here. Yeah, it's kind of rain today. I was hoping we might have got a little bit of evening sunshine. Never mind. So yeah, 1.5 pounds of clay. It's important to make the bottom, get the bottom part of the pot right first. In other words, the belly, to get that before we do the long extended neck. Well, I guess that's kind of obvious. So lifting up the clay, beginning to form the round part of the belly, not letting it get too wide, bringing up the clay, sounds like my neighbour has chosen again to get out his chainsaw. just when I thought it had all gone quiet. Oh well, what can you do? Okay, so I'm collaring in at the moment in that position. I call that 6 points of contact, because that's what it is, 6 points of contact. Right now is a good point to mop out the bottom of the pot, because we're going to close it in. I'm just about to close this in. All right. Ooh, sound like a tree came down. Alright, so the bottom of the pot, get that shape right first. Alright, we're going to then close in. We mop it out with a sponge. Okay, now I'm going to use the 6 points of contact, constricting the neck here and lifting up as I go. Like this. This is something you have to do gradually, you know, you have to squeeze it in gradually and lift, you see. And when you do that, of course, it thickens here. The neck thickens considerably as you do that, and of course that's then going to require me to lift up that clay that I have constricted. It's a very sort of subtle shape, this. I've got to try and get it right, you know. Like the bottom part is like a teardrop. All right, so it's alternate constricting like that and lifting up, okay, and then thinning by lifting up the clay like that, and then constricting again. So you work it like that, you see. So now I'm going to constrict again and lift. Okay, reducing the diameter but thickening the wall. Now I've got to go down as deep as I can with my finger. Alright, it's not necessary, by the way, to use... Wow! It's felling trees. It's not necessary to stick one of those bottle swan neck things down. Alright, a finger is sufficient. So I'm sticking that down as far as I can go, and then pulling up the clay. Right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring the camera in just here so that you can see in a little bit more detail what I'm doing. So let's just bring this in here, touch like that. I want you to see the form and what I'm doing to the neck. I'll probably forget to put the focus back at the end, and then I'll be talking and my head will be out of the camera. Okay, so this is quite a sort of subtle arrangement we got going on here, which I want to get right. So again, now 6 points of contact. Now I'm very much using my mirror while I'm doing this because it's very, it does help. So now I'm lifting a little. Now I don't know if you noticed, but at the top, very slightly, we have this widening. And the angle, it begins, it doesn't just flare out, you see. It flares out, but then it just slightly comes in. I wonder if you've noticed that. Just here. Wow. What's going on out there? Gosh. Okay, I'm going to use my needle. As you can see, the top is wavy a little bit. That kind of thing is quite normal especially when you are constricting a lot. Now here's a typical example where I'm cutting off at the top with my needle, where it is very important to have a needle that is thin. If you've got your usual standard thick needle and you stick that in at the top, because of the length of the neck, it immediately causes a drag, you see, which could even destroy the top of the pot. It could kind of twist on itself. So it is really important to get yourself a thin needle tool. Put away those needles for injecting horses and cows. They ain't no good. So yeah, I'm getting the feeling that I want the neck to be longer, you see. Very slightly longer. Oh, go away, chainsaw. Now you see I'm lifting like that. This finger is like that, and this finger was down inside, you see, like that, to give me stability. You see, I'm fussing a little bit, you might say, with the top here, because I've got God, what's going on? Right, I don't use ribs very much, but I'm going to use this rib because I found it to be helpful, just to enable me to fine-tune the neck here, you see. This kind of wheel is very good for this because you'll notice the speed is not too much, it's just right. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Just shaping the body here a little bit, as I say, just kind of fine-tuning that. At the moment though, you'll notice that the base, the width of the base is too much. I'm going to use my throwing stick to narrow the foot, tighten the form. This kind of throwing stick is good because it gets in there, the base. It's got just the right angle on it that I like for attacking the base of the pot. These pots are not trimmed afterwards, you see. So at this stage, I can get down beside the wheel and I'm going to eyeball it, you see. I'm looking for the curve here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, what have I got to remember to do? I've got to remember to refocus the camera, haven't I? Ha! I'll just pull back a touch, you see. And yeah. There's one last thing I want to do, and that is right at the top here, I want to thin it very slightly, so it's just tapering in thickness. You see, right at the top here. So I suppose we're going to be listening to that chainsaw now for the next few days. I'll be cutting up them trees. Right. So now I'm going to take my lever . I'm going to use a chamois leather on your rims. And some people say to me, "Oh Simon, why is it necessary to use a chamois leather? I just use my sponge." And for all you out there who use a sponge on your rims, you shouldn't. Because if you use a sponge on the rim, it brings all the grog and all the gritty particles of the clay to the surface. And that's not what you want to see on a rim. Alright? Because what it is effectively doing, it's removing the clay and just leaving the grit there. And you don't want that on the rim, because the rim is weakened if you do that. To strengthen your rim, you want to use a chamois leather, because it doesn't remove the clay and it doesn't bring the grittiness to the surface. And it looks a lot better. You know, if you've got like a glaze over the pot and right on the rim here, particles of grit and grog are sticking through the glaze. You really don't want that. So that's why you should use a leather. So, no more shortcuts. Sorry. Sometimes we have to speak the truth, don't we? Okay, so that's it. I'm going to take my wire. The wheel, as you see, has still got momentum. It's still going. I haven't got to do anything now other than cut it off. When you cut off, get your wire. Okay, and you really want to have a wire or a nylon that is like 12 inches between the toggles. So when you get it, you're just going to hold it in the middle like that, and you pull it, and the toggles go to the back of your hand, you see, like that. And they don't pull through. Then with your thumbs, okay, you then hold the wire down on the wheel head and just go straight through like that. What could be easier? Well, you know what, I see a lot of people, they take a lot of trouble with their pot. and then when it comes to wiring it off, they make a complete hash of it. And you know, halfway through cutting it off, the thing slips out of their thumb and goes up and splices through a good part of the pot. So it's actually worth taking the trouble to hold your wire. So if you're one of these people that's got, hang on a moment, if you're one of these people that's got one of these wires, right, they really are no good for working on the wheel because they're far too long, you see. You see the difference? See how much too long it is? It's that much too long. These cut-off wires are really wires that should be used on your wedging table for wedging and cutting through the clay. They have no place on the wheel. So get rid of them. Next thing is you want to measure and get yourself a 12 inch wire. You see, and then you have nothing to spare, nothing left over. I'm constantly seeing people with these wires, when they're about to cut their pot off the wheel, they're having to go like this around their hands, you know, and to shorten it, or they're winding it around their fingers like this. And that, of course, murders the wire, doesn't it? It leaves the wire all kinked and bent and horrible. So, okay folks, just going to pull back the camera here a touch. We're going to lift that pot off the wheel and we're going to put him there on the end of the board. So dry hands, we're just going to cup him like that. And just lift one side and he'll just come off, you see. And we're going to put him there, just like that. And we're going to say, keep practicing. See you soon. Bye bye.